Mouth. Um, how far do we get? Let's start from the top because I don't remember how far we got. So the second line, and the second line, Rab Amar. Oh, do we have that? Rab Amar?
Yeah.
Rab Amar, Te'olamna Sipsei Sheker. There should be silence, lips of falsehood. So these are presumably people who are learning things which they shouldn't be learning because it should be above their level. So the way he's learning the word Te'olamna, it means Yiskarshon, they should become mute. Yisparchon, they should break the smithereens, and Yishtatkun, and they should also be silent. Seems to be the same as Yiskarshon. So let's see the carbon Ada here. Second line carbon Ada. Yiskarshon. Klomar. Teolamna kolel sholosh shonas elu. L'masik. Includes these three languages, these three Rishonos. Misam pelo adam. Well, actually, we should. He quotes from the next line before. So let's see the next line of the Gemara. It says, "K'madat Omar v'yomer Hashem Eloah misam peh v'gomer." Okay, so that's a pasuk which Baruch Hu says to Moshe Rabbeinu by the sneh. When Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't want to accept upon himself the mission to go to save the Jewish people. So now let's go back to the Korban Eidah. Misam peh. Or misam ilaim or chiresh. So that's the pasuk. Who gave a mouth? Who gives a person a mouth, or who makes a person mute that they can't speak, or chiresh, or that they cannot hear. Shamina the ilaim yoser me chiresh. So it seems that ilaim is worse than chiresh, which is mustam ilaim. And evidently because the person who can't speak also can't hear. Normally, we use the word cheresh in Shas, it means somebody who can't hear or speak. But here in the pasuk, he's saying can't mean the word cheresh can't mean that, because the word elaim would be superfluous then, would be unnecessary, right? Because you're going to say that misam cheresh means it's talking about both about speaking and hearing. So then you don't have to say elaim. So he must be saying that's what wants to say that elaim means in this case somebody who can't speak and can't hear, whereas the cheresh is in the secondary meaning, which in Shas it's normally not used in this meaning, which means just somebody who cannot hear. Okay, so misam peh, who gave a mouth. Misam ilaim, who gave people the capacity not to use their mouths, or took away the capacity to use their mouths, and evidently also the capacity to hear. Or cheresh, who took away from people the capacity just to hear. And they say sparchun, yispardu pirurim. They should break apart into little pieces their mouths. Like something dry flakes off. Yishtatkun kamash moshe medaber. They can't speak. So I guess he's saying Elaine can't speak or hear. Cheresh can hear but not speak. And Yishtatkun shosek, which is not in the pasuk, is somebody who can hear but cannot speak. So I'm not sure exactly how this fits into this language here, but he says that Teolamna Sipsei Sheker, since Misam Elaim comes first in the pasuk, it must be that Elaim includes all the negatives. It includes both being deaf and having your mouth smashed, and also not being able to talk. Okay, as he says, Kamal at the Amar, get back to Gemara, Hashem may love me some Pevagomer. Okay, so that refers to cheresh and shosek. There it's talking about the person who is deaf and the person who cannot speak. And Yisparchon, command that nachlu ma'amim alumim. Oh no, he doesn't say it. He says no. I got that wrong. He says from the pasuk by Moshe Rabbeinu, we only learn one thing. Says, so Elaim there. No, I don't understand the Korban. I'm going to do this without the Korban. Let's go back to the Gemara, look at inside again from the beginning. Okay. Again, Rava Marti Olam Nasib Sheker. Okay. The word Elaim, he's coming to explain, has three meanings, and he's going to prove it for three psukim. It means Yiskarshon, to stop hearing. It means Yisparchon, that we smashed in, and it means also Yishtakon, won't be able to speak. Where do we see these three meanings? So the first meaning we see is talking by Moshe Rabbeinu. Vayomer Hashem lamisam peh. Hashem is saying to Moshe Rabbeinu, you say you can't speak, right? Who gave you a mouth to speak in the first place? I can do whatever I want with your power of speech. So in that word, it must be when the word Elaim appears in that pasuk, it means somebody who can't speak. And Hashem is saying, you can speak. You're not Elaim. I'll help you speak. Okay, that pasuk teaches what Elaim means to be silent, not to be able to speak properly. The next, Yisparchon, how do you know Elaim means to smash? When by the dream that Yosef had about the brothers, it says that they were making sheaves. And in sheaves, you bundle the stalks of grain tightly together. You smash them into each other. Okay, so he's saying that the word Elaim also means to smash something, to crush something, I should say is the best word, to crush something together. That's the second meaning. You got kun, and that no, I got it wrong again. Oh boy, this is embarrassing. I'm sorry. The first one is Charshon, means not to hear. The last one means Elaim, not to speak. So let's go back again. Rav Amar Te'olam Nasif Sei Sheker. Yiskarshon Yisparchon Yishtarchon. Yiskarshon means not that they should not hear. Yisparchon, that they should be crushed. Yishtarchon, they should not be able to speak. Yiskarshon. So how do we know that Elaim refers also to Cheresh? Come on, that Omar, like it says, Vayomer Hashem Elov Misam Peh Begomer, to prove it's on the end of the pasuk, because it says, which Rashi brings down, Korban brings down, O Misam Elaim O Cheresh. So he's saying that the word Cheresh appears there in the pasuk next to the word Elaim. It's true, and therefore it seems that they're not the same thing. But that's how Rav is explaining. The word Elaim also refers to deafness, because in that pasuk it says the word Cheresh. It's a little bit weak, but it's obviously not a true drasha anyway. And then he says, how the word Elaim also refers to being crushed. So that he says from Yosef and Yosef in his dream, saying that they were making these sheaves of grain, which is grain, stalks of grain crushed together. And then you start con to be silenced. Kishmuel, that's what the word Elaim actually means. So when they say Te'alam Nasib Sei Sheker, words really the pashut shot is that it just means they should be silenced. But Rav says we throw in a bunch of other curses. Since he's talking about things he shouldn't talk about, he should also be deaf, and he should also have his mouth crushed. Who are these people that they should suffer this punishment? Hadovros al tzadik atok. Those who speak atok, which seems to be a falsehood, on the tzaddik. So the Korban Eda says atok l'shon siluk, take misham. So things which are removed. But take misham hara means that Lot removed his dwelling. No, Avram Avinu moved his dwelling from where he was. So he says here, Dvarim she'atik Dobros al tzadiko shel olam. They speak about Kosh Baruch Hu Advarim shetikmi b'yosav, things that he removed from his creatures. In other words, Hashem said, don't speak about these things. I'm taking away these things from you. This is something which is not supposed to be discussed in public, maybe not even private. These esoteric, these mystical things about Kabbalah. Okay, so and the person who does it, the gaiva is the gaiva ubuz. He's full of arrogance and a mockery. And that's the next two words in the pasuk. He says, I am suitable and I'm going to darshan about my Bereshis. In other words, I have the capacity to do so, and I'm going to go ahead and do so. Sabashu I'll read this word. Sabashu kimiga'eh, it should be, even though it says with an ayin, it's supposed to be like gaiva, in which he thinks he's doing something which can make him proud. He's really only making himself lower and making Kosh Baruch Hu lower. So if a person is not one of the great tzaddikim in the generation, he has no business talking about Ma'aser Bereshis and Ma'aser Merkava, certainly not to other people. And he is a Baal Gaiva, who also is Mebaze, who also insults HaKadosh Baruch Hu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's directions, that people should lay off of this unless they're really, really ready. This one may say a statement which is quite famous. Says, somebody who takes honor out of the embarrassment of his friend, in other words, I'm honored by you being embarrassed. He has no chayek in the world to come. If you take a look here in the Tzion Yerushalmi, do you have the Tzion Yerushalmi on the page? There's a little notation here to the Tzion Yerushalmi.
Yeah.
The Tzion Yerushalmi says, I am Rambam Perek Gimel Choschuva Kasav Kain. Rambam writes, it's a Kesef Mishnah, Lo Hera Mikomo. He didn't know where it came from. So this is the Rambam, he passes on Miskabi Kon Chavero. Somebody who gets covered out of his friend's embarrassment, it comes from this Yerushalmi.
The Rambam didn't know where it came from?
Oh, the Kesef Mishnah was a commentary on the Rambam. Now, but this is not the end of the sentence. It's the end of the same Rabbi Yisrael. He says, if Hamitzkai Kol Chaver of somebody who adds honor out of the embarrassment of his friend, somebody who gets honor from the covenant of Hashem. In other words, he takes Hashem's words, which are supposed to be secret and supposed to be very profoundly understood, and makes them, broadcast them in a way which is inappropriate. So he certainly has no Kal Maxi Basrei, what does it say afterwards? Marav Tuvcha Asher Tzapanti Riacha. How much good do you stockpile for those who fear you? That Al Yilo. It shouldn't be to this person who is talking about Kodesh Baruch Hu when he's not supposed to talk about Kodesh Baruch Hu. Let's see. Yeah, so here the Shaita herself changed the word kama to bameh. They changed it to bameh. It says bameh rav tuvcha. In what is it says Kodesh Baruch Hu's greatness is hidden for the for the people who fear him. So there is a whole addition here, which the Sharat adds from the Medrash Rabbi. I will say it outside. It says it's a marshal for a king who built a palace in a place where there were sewers, in a place where there was garbage dumps, in a place where there was disgusting stuff. Somebody who comes and says that this palace of the king is a place of sewers, a place of garbage, in a place of dumps, does he not damage the king? In other words, if Hashem is the king, Hashem built his palace in a place which is really, really messed up. It smells, it's ugly, etc., etc. So, what's the right thing to do if you're a loyal subject of the king? You don't say anything about it, right? Keep it quiet. Say, oh, how beautiful the palace is, but you don't say anything about how the palace is built in the wrong place. So he says the same thing. Somebody who says that the world was initially water on water, bayim b'mayim. He also is harming the structure which Kadosh Baruch Hu built upon it, right? And so basically what the message is saying is that evidently Maisa Bereshis is how Hashem relates to this world. And how Hashem relates to this world is kind of like not the covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because it's like a king going down to a place where there is very low and dirty and disgusting and dealing with it. And it's something which you don't publicize. So to hear the same thing. If you talk to him about how HaKadosh Baruch Hu relates to everything in this world, it takes away something from the covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because it's talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's tremendously high and above, as if he's down here below. And that's something which is not appropriate to speak about, certainly not in public. Okay? So, and that's it says on Levi Ksiv, it says, Kavod Elokim Haster Davar. It's the honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu not to reveal things, keep things concealed. Kavod Elokim Haster Davar Achaloni Bra Olam. The covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is to conceal things which happened before the world was created. But and the covenant of a king is to analyze something. We should need for ha'olam. In other words, what he's saying is that you can't go speak about that which happened before the world because it's not the covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Of course, we don't understand exactly why not. You have to be much higher, much greater than us to understand that. But somehow that's like, if you're going to a restaurant, you don't go into the kitchen to see how the food is prepared, right? You just eat it when it's brought out of the kitchen fully done. And evidently, this is my separations is like what happens in the kitchen before the food comes out. So that's not okay. If you want to understand it yourself, you can understand it yourself. But don't go tell other people about it. It's not going to make their meal any more pleasant for them. It might make it more unpleasant for them. So therefore, the Maisa Bereshis, how the world was created, how Hashem, cooked the dish, keep it to yourself. Don't go telling other people. I'm Rabbi Levi. Let's Ksiv Hazos Yodata Mini Ad. This is this from forever. And the Shara puts in the words here, HaTorah Yodas Makodem Shenivro. The Torah knows what happened before the world was created. Avoat, but you, Mini Sam Adam Ali Oretz. You only speak what happens after man is created. So the way to read the pasuk is Hazos Yodata. You, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or the Torah has this, but that's not for you. For you, it's mini ad, right? You start from the time Hashem put man on the land. Now, could be, speculating here a bit. It could be that this is talking about the Olamos before this world, right? The world which are were on earth, like the Tiferes Yisrael says, and the Kubalim say that there were worlds on this earth which were destroyed and rebuilt. So so what it's saying here is that whatever you're supposed to start with the Torah as we have it. What happened before the Torah as we have it, it's there evidently hints at it in the Torah, but that's not something which you're supposed to spend time on. There's a reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroyed them. And evidently it's not good for people in this world to know what went on in the previous worlds on earth. At least not in detail. It could be that that's what he's saying here. And that's we start from the day when we want to talk about this world. We start from the day that man was put on earth. So, Ray Bucks, Ray Yosef Sheba, Stephen says, Kishalnu Yamin Hashem Asher Yu V'necha. You're going to come to ask about the days before, which are before you. So obviously, a lot of people have an interest in finding out history. What happened? What were the events? So, and people ask, right? So he says, can you ask about what happened before the world was created? No. Only from, you can only ask from the time the man was put on land. So maybe you can't even ask about the 6 days of the Bria, because it says which is from Friday. Maybe I can't even ask about the first 5 days of the Bria, first 5 days of the Bria. So Talmud Lomar Rishonim. No, you can ask about Rishonim. Kishalnu Yomim Rishonim. So it's a contradiction here. On one hand, it says you can only ask Mini Soma Damaloretz from the time the man was put on land. On the other hand, it says Kishalnu Yomim Rishonim. You can ask about first days. Sounds like even before Friday. So it's a contradiction. How do we reconcile these psukim? So that Gemara says, after the pasuk said you can ask more, it says you can Tama Rishayim. Sorry, Tama Rishayim. Akashiba, because it's because pasuk expanded by the word Rishayim. Then miyet, it's diminished by the word mini sama dam al oretz, from the time man was created. Hare onalamedi mishishi. So we learn out from the 6th day. Mashishim yuchad shushesh and mishesh of braces. Just like the 6 occasions from the days of braces. Afat lote mebili eleshu kayetze. Right? You can only talk about things in Maisa braces. In other words, the way he's saying it is you can't, this is not so simple. I believe it's machlekes, but can you darshan about the first 6 days of creation? So he's saying that since we have a pasuk which is a ribui, which expands the idea, which is Rishonim, a pasuk which is a mute, which contracts the idea, which says only mini sama damalaretz. So how do we take the contradiction and resolve it? We say that any day which is like Friday, which is Sheshmei Bereshis, you can talk about. It's like a compromise. Can't talk about things before the world was created. You definitely can speak of things after man was created. Things in the middle, also, you're allowed to speak about them. So maybe you'll say, okay, we'll talk about what's above the heavens, what's below the depths. No, you can only go from one end of the heavens to the other, meaning it's all within the Bria. You can't try and understand what's beyond the Bria. That's what drove these people crazy who will try to understand that. El Achelo Nivra, here it says a Olam, but that can't be because we said you can't talk about what happened before it was created. So Shartos and so changed it to Adam. Okay. Ad she lo nivra Adam, meaning 6 days of creation. Ad doresh, you can learn it out. You believe chamaski, but keep it to yourself. Don't spread it. What happens changing my braces? You can learn it. You can ask the questions about it, but don't spread it. But afterwards, Mishnivra Adam, once man is created, at Holech Mikore, you can go out and call it out. Holech Misofa Olam Bad Sofa. You can say anything which happened after Sheshmei Bereshis, publicize as much as possible. So now we have three periods in human history. Before the world was created, we don't talk about that. So, for whatever reason, evidently because big Rishonim are described as crazy, it's not clear why. What happened during Sheshmei Bereshis, you can talk about, but you can learn about, but you shouldn't talk about too much either. It has to be something which is what?
During?
during Sheish Mei Bereshis. You could talk about it, but leave masking. In other words, only in small groups, perhaps only to yourself, but not to large groups, because it's very delicate. But it happened after Sheish Mei Bereshis, that you can speak about at any length you want and to wherever you want. And Adarabah, it's a mitzvah to speak about how Hashem runs the Bria. Okay, I think we'll stop here for today. Okay, up to Tani Bar Kapara.
All right. Rebbe,
Yeah,
can I ask a question on Megillah?
yeah.
Why is the halacha according